His wife dead, and ailing Gene Hackman was stranded alone in his house for days, authorities believe. Betsy Arakawa appeared to go about her normal routine in early February. She ran errands around Santa Fe while wearing a face mask. She visited a Sprouts grocery store, CVS pharmacy, and a pet store while emailing her massage therapist, officials said. Investigators now believe she died 2 days later on Feb. 11. Her body was later found in the bathroom of the home she shared with her husband, actor Gene Hackman. Prescription pills were scattered on a nearby countertop. Hackman, 95, appears to have lived inside the home for several more days, succumbing to heart disease and Alzheimer's disease. He was found in another room with a walking cane and a pair of sunglasses by his body. Officials believe he died on Feb. 18. Their bodies were discovered Feb. 26 by maintenance workers at their home in the Santa Fe Summit housing community. Hackman, 95, appears to have lived inside the home for several more days, succumbing to heart disease and Alzheimer's disease. He was found in another room with a walking cane and a pair of sunglasses by his body. Officials believe he died on Feb. 18. Their bodies were discovered Feb. 26 by maintenance workers at their home in the Santa Fe Summit housing community. Hackman had lived in Santa Fe for years, giving up the Hollywood glitz for a quieter life of painting, community events, bike riding and Pilates with his classic pianist wife, friends said. His health appeared to be declining in recent times, and Arakawa was caring for him. Some friends said, "What do we know about Hackman's death?" Heather Yarrail, chief medical examiner at the Medical Investigator's Office, performed the autopsy on Hackman and said his brain showed advanced Alzheimer's disease, as well as blood vessel changes in the brain secondary to chronic high blood pressure. He was in a very poor state of health. He had significant heart disease, and I think ultimately that is what resulted in his death, Yarrail said. When asked whether Hackman's Alzheimer's disease prevented him from being able to tell if his wife was dead, Yarrail could not say. I think that question is difficult to answer, but I can tell you that he was in an advanced state of Alzheimer's, and it is quite possible that he was not aware that she was deceased, Yarrail said. What about Arakawa? Investigators pieced together Arakawa's last days through surveillance footage and emails. According to Santa Fe County Sheriff Aiden Mendoza, she picked up her dog from a veterinary hospital on Feb. 9. Then she was seen on surveillance footage on Feb. 11 at a local Sprouts supermarket around 3:30 p.m. and a CVS pharmacy shortly before 4:30 p.m., according to investigators. She stopped at a pet food store and shortly before 5 p.m. returned to her neighborhood and activated the remote control to open the gate to her subdivision. Earlier in the day, Arakawa wrote to her massage therapist over email. There was no email activity on the following day, according to officials, though Yarrail did not pinpoint exactly where Arakawa contracted hantavirus. They did note that it is transmitted by rodent droppings or saliva and characterized by flu-like symptoms, fever, muscle aches, cough, vomiting, and diarrhea. Aaron Phipps, New Mexico State Public Health veterinarian, said there were signs of rodent entry in some structures on the property. Roughly 38% to 50% of people in the Southwest who are infected and experience respiratory symptoms die from the disease, officials said. What do we know about how the couple was found? They were found by a pair of maintenance workers in their housing community shortly before 2 p.m. on Feb. 26. The workers then notified a community caretaker, who went to the home and then called 911. The caretaker didn't have all the information when he called, but said he was looking through a window at 2 bodies lying on the floor inside. The caller can be heard on the 911 audio telling the dispatcher that he could see what appeared to be 2 motionless bodies inside the house. Shaken, he repeatedly says damn and urges authorities to rapidly respond. No, they are not moving. Please send someone out here quick, the caller says. Hackman's body was found on the floor near the kitchen and a mudroom. According to a court affidavit, Arakawa's body was found in a bathroom by the home's main entrance, and prescription pills were scattered on a nearby countertop. Mendoza said he could not release details about the prescriptions due to the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. The The positioning of the couple's bodies indicated that they may have suddenly fallen. According to the affidavit, a dog was found dead inside the home while two other dogs were alive on the property and able to enter and exit the residence through a door at the back. The dog's cause of death is unknown. Officials later revealed that they removed medication to treat high blood pressure, Tylenol, and a medication to treat the thyroid, according to court records. What do we know about hantavirus? The condition is rare but deadly, with a mortality rate between 38% and 50% among those infected in the American Southwest, Yarrail said. Hantaviruses are a family of viruses spread by rodent feces, saliva, and urine, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Most hantaviruses found in the United States can cause hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. People can contract the syndrome by breathing in the air when cleaning up after rodents. It can also be spread by touching contaminated objects and then touching your nose or mouth, getting bitten or scratched by an infected rodent, or eating food contaminated with hantavirus. According to the CDC, Phipps noted that Arakawa and Hackman's home had a low risk of exposure to hantavirus, but said there were signs of rodents and other structures on the property. She said that, in the last 5 years, New Mexico has confirmed 1 to 7 hantavirus cases annually. A total of 120 cases and 50 deaths were reported in New Mexico between 1993, when surveillance began, and 2022, the most recent year for which the CDC has data publicly available. California reported 78 cases and 24 deaths in that same time span. The California cases include a hantavirus outbreak at Yosemite National Park in summer 2012 that infected visitors staying in tent cabins. Of the 10 people who were infected, 8 experienced hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, 5 required intensive care with ventilatory support, and 3 died. The deer mouse is the most common vector of hantavirus pulmonary syndrome in the U.S. According to the CDC, Gene Hackman death. Can pills, phones, texts, and photos unlock mystery? It will probably take weeks to sort out the death of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, as authorities revealed new details about the case. The Oscar winner and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, were found dead with one of the family's 3 dogs in their New Mexico home by maintenance workers on Wednesday. Authorities said that there were no obvious signs of foul play, but that the circumstances of their deaths warranted further investigation. Where does the investigation go from here? Besides work from the medical examiner, investigators are looking at pills found at the scene and the couple's cell phones to piece together the last days of their lives. We'll be analyzing cell phone data, phone calls, text messages, events, photos in the cell phone, to try to piece a timeline together, Santa Fe Sheriff County Aiden Mendoza said Friday. Investigators removed 2 phones, blood pressure and thyroid medications, Tylenol, medical records, and a 2025 monthly planner from the home, according to a search warrant summary. The New Mexico Gas Co. did not find any outstanding issues in the home after an extensive investigation for leaks or other issues with the gas lines. The utility company did find a minuscule leak in a stove burner, but it was not enough to emit a lethal amount of carbon monoxide, the sheriff's office said Tuesday. The information was passed on to the medical investigator's office. The utility company also found several code enforcement violations, but those did not involve gas leaks. In the coming days, investigators will build a timeline for when the couple were last seen alive and try to evaluate who spoke to them last. Mendoza described Hackman and Arakawa as private individuals who kept to themselves. There are no security cameras inside or outside the home for the investigators to draw upon, Mendoza said Friday. Maintenance workers told investigators that they last spoke to the couple about 2 weeks before their bodies were found. Arakawa mainly communicated with the workers via text message or in phone calls. The cause of the couple's deaths is still under investigation. Initial autopsy results ruled out carbon monoxide poisoning and found no signs of blunt force trauma on the couple's bodies, Mendoza said. The medical examiner will make a ruling on the official cause of death after receiving full toxicology and autopsy results, a process that he said could take months. Mendoza said at a news conference Friday that Feb. 17 was the last day Hackman's pacemaker showed activity, and that it is a very good assumption that it was his last day of life.